Are you ready? Are you ready to pot it up?
Let's go. Let's have fun. Peatcast it.
This is the Simply Youth Ministry Podcast with Doug Fields,
I think it's going to be a four-shoulder touch.
Matt McGill,
Nothing says loving like a muffin.
Josh Griffin,
The internet is a hotbed of activity.
and Jana Sardi.
Podcast.
The show starts now.
Hey everybody,
was
Simply
a
Youth
quiet
Ministry
one.
Podcast, episode 117. Douglas Montgomery Fields here with Jana, the beauty queen, pregnant, fourth child. Matt McGill, a
You have
regular.
4 kids?
A regular.
Kids are pregnant?
And sitting in to my left is Jake Rutenbar, our favorite sub.
Jake
Our
Rutenbar.
favorite sub. Josh just twittered. We are all kind of hearing for the first time. Anybody on the live show that actually saw us praying before, that wasn't for
That
the
wasn't
show.
on the live show, was it?
I don't know.
I was just kidding to make fun of Janet, make her feel
That was praying for the Griffin family. We just got a Twitter from Josh that it's public because it's to the thousands of people that get that, but he twittered that his dog bit one of his children, so they're getting stitches, and we just prayed for him, and then called Jake real quick and said, come
Which, when
on.
it starts off, it sounds like a joke. Dog bit a child. But then when you say stitches, it opens my compassion part.
Really?
good.
Yeah, at the beginning I thought, oh, it sounds kind of funny, but then...
Yeah, we don't joke about that kind of stuff.
We don't?
And sitting on Matt's lap is a
If a
little
dog bit one of my kids,
ventriloquist doll, ladies and gentlemen, is
sure I'd be able to stop
Andy
laugh.
Brazelton.
OutsideAllDay.com.
Is gracing us with his presence. Andy, why don't you look into the live show?
Hey guys.
What are you doing out here?
Just hanging out with the Simply Youth Ministry team.
Yeah?
Doing
What's
some 2010 project planning.
Nice to see you.
Slumming it.
And,
What is that?
nice to
Let us
see you in
in on
California.
a secret
Tell
for the
what's
future.
the
can't.
What's the Six Sigma?
Give us a snippet.
No, it's not. None of it's ready to be rolled out
What's
yet.
2010?
2010.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Did you know that?
What?
2010.
I have never heard this phrase before.
McGill,
You've
what,
gotta-
Nobody
You
uses
talk
it.
to
Oh my
people.
what
goodness.
year were you born in?
1972.
Yeah, exactly.
1972.
So the exact same way to say that would be 2010.
Yeah, I've never been to 2010. Who
We just
has?
never thought about it before.
That's true. Why?
Well, you never
Goodness.
said 2009,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm just trying to help you out.
Exactly. Who says 2009?
I just say 29.
You say 29.
20. You have to space
That
it
could
out
be
a
the
little
year
bit.
200.
20.
Let's
9.
let's just talk to Andy just for a second.
I'm
Andy,
not Mike, so this isn't gonna work.
No, you'll be.
Yeah, you can for the live
No,
show.
come real close.
Yeah,
guys.
just okay.
snuggle
That
in.
didn't
Just
Get
you
close
and
to
Jana
Matt.
have been close before.
Let's talk about a few things. It's been a year since you left
Yep.
us.
Thanksgiving Day.
How was that?
Oh, that's right. You left on Thanksgiving.
On Thanksgiving.
How's the move to Colorado been?
Having a we really like it out there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Much better.
Publishing.
Group publishing's been great.
Yeah.
Yep.
Taking care of this little division called Simply Youth Ministry. Are you making sure
that's
of
right.
it?
We're
Yeah.
trying our best.
All right.
When he can remember.
Yeah. When he thinks about it, he doesn't answer his phone anymore, right, Chris?
Unbelievable.
Can you ever get a hold of him?
Very rarely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eating, this is that Blackberry.
Did we talk today?
Huh?
Did we talk today when you called?
Not about work.
The funniest thing is when he knew he was going to be on the podcast, how he switched into his casual clothes because he took off his suit and tie.
Now, let me
His
ask you
corporate
He made sure
attire.
to take off his rings
How
and
many
watches.
how many banks are around your house?
Unbelievable.
And are you able to
I have
make
a very
multiple
modest
deposits?
home.
Yeah.
You know what? The FDIC only insures up to 100,000, right? So he's got to do it in separate.
Yeah, well, if anybody would know,
Yeah.
Rich McGill.
Yeah, right.
All right, Brazel.
It's good to see you guys.
Good to see you too.
Basil, any words of
guys.
wisdom
Good to see everybody.
any words of wisdom out there for the youth workers?
Remember when you used to do a pre-show and you actually cared about what we did
I
over here?
still care.
You do?
Just a
Yes.
busy day.
Yeah.
It's just
Got lots
peanuts to
going on.
Brazel now.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's cute.
Have
Yeah.
we said congratulations to Brazel because his sister got married?
No, but let's
Definitely get married.
talk about. Jake had something about. He had a great line before he started. He
About my
said, "Come on,
mom."
Brazel, be on the show. Don't you know how product sales work? When you're on the show, we sell a lot more."
Automatic. I can show you the spreadsheet.
Yeah. I'm sure the numbers are staggering.
All right, Andy.
guys,
so
fun to
much
hang out.
for thanks for all your charisma.
Brazel, live
Bye. Say
strong.
hello to your
Make
family.
sure you don't get cancer.
For those of you who can't see, he's now in the background celebrating, crossing himself,
Quickly putting his suit back on.
drinking, yeah,
Drinking.
straightening his tie.
Smoking a tie. Cigar.
Anyway, Jake, good to have you here. We've
Thank
got a bunch of questions. If you'd like to send questions in to future episodes, because now it's on the calendar every Thursday at 1:30.
Yeah.
1:30? I
So
thought I was supposed to be here at 1.
You
Yeah,
are.
there's a reason
Because what
for
time
that.
did you get here? 1:28.
1 o'clock for you.
I still have a job, slackabellies. So I had things to do today.
Don't you have a job?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a job.
Yeah. And actually, what they're doing at the church is way we could edit that part out.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've got some nice.
I got after the podcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want a noisemaker?
Yes.
Would
Give
you
me my
like-
iPod
would you
back.
like some drums?
How about you just keep squishing your can over there?
That was my point about
Next
noise.
time, move it to your microphone like this.
That's right. I'm new.
You're very hairy.
You know what? It's a gift. It's
Everywhere but
actually-
the top.
Yeah, it's actually an Esau gene that my family inherited centuries ago.
You know what I was thinking about you today? Because I saw some video clips that the skit guys did for Doritos.
Yeah.
They entered that Super Bowl contest, and I was thinking about all the videos that you've made for our Simply Youth Ministry conference. I thought Jake could do a funny one.
Oh, that's awesome! I need to check that out because I heard them mentioning they did something, but I haven't seen.
They have like a legit film crew.
Their stuff is super. That's
yours is the Josh
quality,
Griffin behind the camera. No offense, Josh. You're great.
Steady.
And you know what? On this day of all days.
Seriously.
I didn't bark.
His hands probably are not very steady.
I didn't bark
today.
when I did.
That was good. Yeah.
All right, this is from Kyle Doherty or Daughtry or one of our team
What
members.
should happen to that dog? What should happen to that dog?
Remember, we don't talk about family stuff for the Griffins.
I'm just saying, if in general though, not
Like if it was your dog?
yeah, or
You'd
Jake's
kill
dog.
it.
I would say it depends what the circumstance a little bit, and that would only be for a 5% chance. I would
Okay,
say
but let's say
95% of
the
the time,
dog bites you in a place that sucks.
you got to put it down.
Put it down how though? Obviously, you
I
got to
think
put
I'd
it
give it
down.
away.
I mean, do you do it with injection?
Oh
Do
my
you
goodness.
cut the dog's head off?
That's
What do you?
not
That's what
I
I'm
would
saying.
take care of it on my own.
Let's go to Kyle Doherty. Kyle Doherty says he's from Kenley, North Carolina. And Kyle, some of you guys that have weird last names, I always feel bad hacking them. So if you could give me a little pronunciation.
Phonetic is what we call that.
Okay, thanks.
Or frenetic if you're busy.
What?
I would go with Daughtry.
Jana, we missed you last week.
Oh.
It was an all male show and it was
goodness.
not. Yeah, it was not that good.
Best show ever.
Earlier this week, I had to drive
You
through
doing
the
it
night
anywhere?
and listen to some of the older podcasts. Matt's loud outburst that normally makes people drive off and keep me awake. But that normally make people drive off the keep me awake. I'm
Road.
reading that correctly, aren't I? Or how he wrote.
He might have written this email on a long road trip at night.
Yeah. Matt's loud outburst that normally makes people drive off the road actually kept me awake.
That is probably what you're adding there.
Right. Last night I waited up for episode 115. This led to an interesting dream. Doug was a cop and pulled me over for speeding.
Tell me about it.
I told him I listened to the podcast, and Doug just smiled and allowed me to go on with my day.
That's funny. That's funny.
Very funny.
If I was a cop, that's what I would do.
I feel like you're pulling me over all the time on this podcast.
Yeah, well, I don't let you go on your way.
You don't. I got to.
Anyway, thanks, Kyle. Derek Altum is from the Otta First Free Will Baptist Church.
There's a first free will.
There's six words in that whole thing. It says, what roles
free will
do your
church.
wives/husband play in
Thank
the
you.
ministry in your church?
Appreciate it.
Does the church hire our mates as well as hire us?
I also appreciate that they use the term mate for Lee, who's Australian.
That's
Yes.
right. That's Jana's husband. And then he says, rockin' who God made me to be.
Hey, First Baptist Free Will.
Otta First Baptist.
So Otta's the
Rockin'
name of
who
the
God
city.
made me to be is one more word than Otta Free Will Baptist Church. Jana, why don't you
Free
start?
Will Baptist. Is that not an interesting name? Have you ever heard of a church called that before?
Yeah, but man, I'm kind of focused on
The
You
question.
remember, we're recording, have an audience. We've got our team listening. They really don't.
I'm too focused on a hairstyle.
I think it looks different for us currently in this season. My husband is not very involved in the church. It is mostly supporting our family while I am away at the church. So that is currently
You have 3.5 children under the age of 7?
5. 5 and under.
Is she only 5?
She's only 5. She's as sassy as could be.
Oh,
but she's
Belle.
only
Your Halloween pictures
Half
of her.
as sassy as you.
Oh my gosh, she is adorable.
Thank you.
Yes, she's adorable.
Yes.
So Lee is at home. He's helping
or
out.
at church, distributing kids to childcare and coming to church.
But totally supportive of you. He is
Totally.
playing that role of and he's had different types of ministries over the years.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
all seasonal.
And
you
we
know.
both worked at the church at one point in time, and so that, you know.
Until we caught you guys.
So that was a big change for our, to shift.
So
to,
she didn't deny it?
No,
No,
she didn't deny it at all.
That's right.
But currently in this season, that's how it looks, So I don't think it'll always look like that, but right
Lee's
now.
been a small group leader. He has helped run the college ministry. He's been a graphic designer. SardiDesign.com.
Yeah.
To our thousands and thousands and thousands of listeners.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
To our
Basil?
team.
You're not really doing anything.
Is
so
he
you could've been on
creeping
the show.
around?
You
could've
are
told me on the
listening.
show.
You have
He's
side
sitting
comments
there.
in
Could've been on
there.
the show.
He
Really,
just-
what it does?
He just secretly mooned me from the back room back there.
It describes to our team how little Andy cares.
Yeah.
I mean, they knew it kind of when he moved away for more money last year.
But seriously,
But-
could you have anticipated this much change in 1 year?
No.
It's frightening.
No.
I'm not sure
He
I've seen
used
a
to
lot of change.
Skype in, and then we
Well,
even
you
gave
know
up
what?
on
Then he
Skype.
got into spreadsheets, and if he hits his numbers, he gets bonuses, things like that.
Big offices.
Yep, you should see his office.
That's
Anyway,
right here.
Inside the Space Needle?
Matt,
Yes.
what
He
about
lives in
Misha,
Colorado.
your wife?
That was part of it.
Your wife, you have 5 children.
I have 5 children.
Under the age
Mish
of-
is under the age of 8,
8.
and 3 under the age of 2.
Oh, gosh.
Tell me about it.
No wonder you're always mean.
Well, I'm not always mean.
Answer the question.
I knew he
that
couldn't
hurts.
Answer the question.
That-
Answer the
oh.
question. Here we go.
Well, one part of that question is really easy to answer. I think we'd all agree is that we've never made an expectation that when you hire somebody, you hire their spouse.
Yep.
That is, to me, we go be intentional to say, look, we are not hiring, we are not expecting your spouse to, so that's.
But we state that. That's
what I'm saying. We make a
Right.
point to state
other
that.
churches, though, I would be clear to ask those questions.
Oh
Right.
yeah, definitely. And some churches they consider that part of their policy. I mean, they consider that a good thing. But Misha's been involved in different ways throughout the years. I mean, we had no kids. She was a small group leader. She went to every camp and led cabins and drove vans and all that stuff. And then as we had kids, she did less and less and is now involved in mom's ministry stuff. And so she leads a Beth Moore table or something like that, and does women's ministry stuff where that's how she serves, but she doesn't serve, in the high school ministry anymore, but I'm not in high school ministry anymore either, so, yeah.
Yep.
So there you go.
All right.
My wife Erin, actually I was thinking all of our wives, husband are in the same boat as far as all of our kids. We've got 2 kids, but 2 kids. We just found out our 3rd is coming.
A male?
We found out we're having a little boy in April for number 3.
Yeah,
I'm very
nice.
excited.
Uh-huh.
But Erin's, we were out at Old Navy the other day,
Yeah.
and we saw a girl that used to be in Erin's small group, and she was just thinking how much she loved having her high school small group,
Yeah.
but just in this era of 3 to be little kids at home, it's very different. So we're very much on the same.
I think the word that that we're hearing is seasonal, because all of our spouses have had great ministry roles before.
Yeah.
Kathy's season is not like Misha's anymore. Kathy
Yeah.
did the Misha thing where she kind
Yeah.
of pulled away and did mom stuff. Now,
She's full bore.
she's got a small group,
high
and
school
she's
small group,
hanging
yeah.
out with
Yeah.
them and
Yeah.
going to their games and taking them out to meals and
Yeah.
being a small group leader every week and the whole bit. So,
Yeah.
But there was several years where she wasn't able to do that.
Yep.
So I think the big picture principle is you allow your spouse the freedom to be who he or she is. You give them seasons off. You help them learn about what it would take to support you, but you also at the same time support them in their role and
Yeah.
not have the church be very clear with the church that they're not getting a 2-for-1.
Yep. And I think the thing with support, like Lee is a good support or Misha's a good support. The thing that defines good support.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
Erin's listening live right now, and she's.
What'd I say?
You just did mention Erin.
Yeah, just
Well, I was trying to
Lee
go
and Misha.
quick.
Well, that's the first.
Oh, goodness gracious. No, but the thing that I think is important is the idea that we don't assume it or expect it or demand it. And I think that is when you're in trouble with your marriage and with your ministry, where you expect or demand support and compliance and these other things. So we have great support, but some of you might be interpreting support differently than what we mean, or at least I mean support. Done.
All right. You sure?
Yeah.
All right. Were you going to add something? I kind of felt you were breathing.
Well, I just was.
When am I not sure?
I want to weigh in on this. Hey, speaking of weigh in, can I just tell you that tonight my son is playing potentially his last varsity football game on the very field that Matt McGill played.
Oh!
When
really? Tonight's the game?
Tustin Tillers?
No, they're not playing Tustin.
Foothill.
Playing Foothill at Tustin.
Don't get confused.
So he's playing on your field.
I got small group tonight.
They play at Tustin.
He's going to be in. They'll make the playoffs. I just thought.
But I'm saying the game's at Tustin.
Yeah, it's at Matt, where Matt grew up and where Matt played varsity football. My son.
And Deshaun Foster.
Yeah. How special is that?
You should go and
That's
wear your
awesome.
Letterman's jacket.
Dude, I bet Coach A will be there.
I don't even know. I don't even know where my Letterman jacket is.
I know where your classroom is. Oh
Yeah.
no, I don't.
Dang it. Yeah.
It's such an inside joke. I don't even know it.
Yeah,
It's that
me
inside.
neither. It hurts.
Hey, this is a email from Josh Maxwell, and he actually says, not a podcast question, but a thank you to Doug for Fresh Start. And it's actually 1, 2, 3, 4,
Wow.
5, 6 paragraphs long. Long story short of it is that
You read that whole thing?
he absolutely.
He even made notes.
A thank you to Doug Fields. Why would I not read it?
Plus, it's not like you have a job.
He said he got Fresh Start. He read it. He gave it to a person who was a little bit down and out. The guy read it in 2 hours, texted him the whole time. You know, he's with all these questions. They now meet. This guy started a men's ministry at the church.
Yeah.
He was just going on and on, but he says, I drove home tonight thinking, man, I wish I could thank Doug for this book, and it dawned on me that you're always looking at podcast emails anyway, so thank you, and hopefully I'll be able to thank you in person at SYM Conference in Chicago this February if my church wants to man up and pay for it.
Man up?
But I just kind of, what I wrote down, and normally, I don't read all of these online, but I thought it'd be an interesting discussion to talk about the role of affirmation as a leader.
Yeah.
You know what? I mean,
That's a great
obviously
idea.
when you get affirmation,
Totally.
it feels good. But do you think that you affirm the same way you like to be affirmed?
Yes.
How do you like to be affirmed? What's your love
my love language? I think words of affirmation are my love language, but I think that's what I was saying. Yes, is I think we do that until you learn that that's not everybody's love language, or that's especially in marriage. I think you learn that pretty quick of like, oh, maybe that's not how they they receive appreciation or whatever. So I think
there really only 5 love languages?
That's what I think too. This is so
Can you be a
strange.
little bit of everything though?
Yeah.
I think I kind of.
Because my love language is respect, and I don't think that's one of the 5. Maybe I don't
Leave
leave
it
up.
to you to put yourself outside the entire.
Yeah, maybe you ought to write your own book called The Missing Love Language.
The lost love language. Why does nobody love me? Oh.
But, so, I mean, let's see how that translates. You've led staffs before, and
Yes.
if words are not your love language...
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely... I mean, for me, I think it's... My natural is presence, listening, being there, understanding. That is my thing. And
how you want it or how you give it?
Well, whatever. My natural, how I give it and want it.
Yeah.
But obviously, I mean, for everyone who knows you a little bit, knows that words are your thing.
Yeah.
And so that has been something that I've learned through the years. I mean, I guess even early on though, I like to write. I like to write people. So I mean, I was more written, but still, I was pointing to you because you and I are friends for a long time.
You wrote me a lot of letters.
And sometimes I wrote you some. They're all love letters.
Did you save them?
No, but it also reminds me of those
Letterman
canned. It goes away on a missions trip. The whole time she's gone, I got nothing but the form letter.
Yeah.
They're horrible. I've never read it once. But another hero, another guy in my life that is new. He's older, but he's become like a mentor and a coach and a friend. One of the things that I noticed about him right away, you guys have in common, is words. So encouraging, so uplifting, can find the good in anything, and point it out and do so with enthusiasm and accuracy, not just enthusiasm. Because I think the danger of words is when they're empty. The danger of words is flattery. I mean, that's the problem, is when there's not substance to it, then that's when it's more than a right word, and that's what you have, and that's what this other guy has, and it's more than a word. It's word and truth.
There's a song about that.
Really,
more than words.
Don't know it.
That was more than wonderful.
You don't?
Yeah, that's. You don't know more than words?
I don't know the names of songs.
So Jake let's say you're a volunteer in a youth ministry.
Okay.
All right.
Put on that hat. Great.
Okay. And
Cover up that baldness.
What does affirmation mean to you? What are you looking for as a volunteer?
I would say time would be something that would be huge, and not necessarily quantity, but talking about recognizing when somebody recognizes that I'm making sacrifices for a ministry, and they're recognizing that by honoring. It doesn't even have to be honoring me like a gift or even with specific words. It's just the taking the time out to pause. I think knowing youth ministry culture, how busy we are. Yeah. I know I hate when I have a weekend where I brush by a volunteer or kind of give them the usual, hey, it's great to see you, but it feels so forced. And I believe they have to know when they feel like they get a few of those in a row, it starts to feel kind of fake. So some type of intentional stop the busyness, stop in the face-to-face for a second. Yeah. Would be.
Well, it's hard to do when you're so task-oriented and you're moving to pull off a program.
Totally,
or it's the
right.
end of the
The
night,
weekend,
you've got 5 things to do, and your volunteers are there all the time. I mean, Chris, who's running the show, how's the live audience doing, by the way? Yeah? You're smart. You're laughing. What's going on?
We're discussing 8 Mile in Detroit.
Oh, gosh.
Was
Great
that,
movie.
Was that the
Not
song?
really.
It's
No.
not really youth
the
ministry?
area.
Matt McCage is online.
Oh,
and he was
okay.
talking about growing up in 8 Mile.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, hi, Matt McCage.
I thought you meant the movie.
Anyway, I walk up here
Also
Bunny
awesome.
Rabbit.
today to our second floor at Simply Youth Ministries headquarters, world headquarters. And Jana and I are engaging, and Chris is trying to get the podcast ready to go on the whole bit. And I sat down, I was grabbing my pile, we're putting our pile of letters, we're putting our headphones on the whole bit, and I realized I didn't even say hi to Chris.
Yeah.
Because I walked it, and he stood by me, and I smelt him because he was right here, and so I patted his rear and said, "How are you doing?"
Was that the smelly
Good or
part?
bad? Smelly part.
No, it smelled nice.
Okay.
He smelled like he
Axe.
Yeah, like
8
Axe.
Mile.
Yeah, and so, but in that moment, we come up, or got the podcast going on. Jana's handing me mail stuff. I'm handing her things. You were getting the head, and here's one of our key leaders, and I hadn't even said hi to him yet. And we do that in youth ministry all the time.
Right.
I
I'd already
think.
said
Totally.
hi.
You had already said hi.
Yeah, we already talked
Well,
about
you guys were up here alone. That's why I had to get up here quickly.
Seriously.
Make sure nothing was happening.
Protect your mate.
But wait, can I say one more thing?
Yes.
Because one of the things we've done for our leaders, like some of the volunteers in our ministry, is we've tried to use our words, but in a way that was a gift that they could hold on to, and something that they could go back to. Whether that was, a note card that was nicely done, or a small gift, something that was, keep this, don't just toss it. It's not just an email, So.
I think that anything you do to value people.
Yeah.
Matt used the danger of words
Is flattery.
But I think most leaders err on that side where they don't say anything.
Yes.
Where I'd actually rather be accused of going, every time I see him, he says something. Marla Christian has said that to me before. She goes, gosh, sometimes I feel so guilty because every time I see you, you're telling me what a great volunteer I am. Well, Marla is a great volunteer.
Right.
And I don't want those words to become cheap, but at the same time, there are other ways that, beyond words that we can encourage people. But I think if you're a leader, especially a young leader, you learn to encourage people early. You're gonna keep them going. You're gonna breathe life into them. You're gonna make them feel like they're part of your team. I think that's also the right thing to do. It's not just you encourage them so the motive is that they'll serve you better. Right. But it's
building other people up.
Yes, it is. This is from Josh Ryder. Josh says, no question, just want to thank you for the support through the podcast. You ran several of the miles of my first marathon I completed this past weekend with me.
Oh, wow.
Josh, congratulations.
I feel like I ran it.
That kept you going, listening to the podcast.
If I was on any of those miles, Josh, I'm there for you.
You know what? I kept this one in because used the word marathon, which I just thought I would talk
Circle.
about how
You
many of
ran
us
a
have ran a
marathon.
marathon. Have you run one?
No, I
No.
said you did. I was there to cheer you on.
Oh, I ran one. Yeah.
Run, girl, run. Remember your mom?
You did not.
Go, girl, go. Your mom was saying
Is it
something
Disneyland
funny.
Marathon?
Oh, yeah, we
It's
were
a
there.
half marathon.
Yeah.
But it also made me think that if Josh
I was a
was
little
here,
embarrassed of your mom,
we were
actually.
going to talk about the weight bet.
Yeah.
So that is still on. So to our
the
podcast
weight
team,
bet?
that is still on.
Weeks and weeks to this.
You're going to
has been
SYM
like-
conference, so
Maybe you
you-
should write a song about it.
Oh gosh,
Metal Fish.
I might need to do it. I might pass you guys up.
Metal.
Coop had to sing a song the other night.
I saw that. Coop, if you're listening, we love you.
Craig.
Dude, you are so diligent with your notes on these emails.
Yeah.
I'm just impressed with how prepared you are.
He
Yeah.
preps the podcast.
Yeah, I know you got a lot more free time right now. But
No, you know what? Even when I was getting a paycheck, I did the same thing. I would
nice.
read them and then go, oh, okay.
So
well,
you're taking church time to do that, huh?
yeah. Yeah, it really wasn't church time. It was ministry time.
Okay.
See, I know when some guys like you have
Yep.
a
Yeah,
9 to 5 limited job. Others of us had the freedom to just minister however we
Yeah.
wanted.
Wow.
However the Holy Spirit would
Those
lead.
guys
It's called being
don't
put
care
in
about
place.
stewardship.
This is from Craig Pfeiffer.
Oh, he sent us an email saying, say my name right, and you just did.
Thank you. Because he sent a little bit. How do you know what he sent?
Because he was the guy who had a question about Mormonism curriculum.
Matt,
Last week?
Matt, and what'd you do
you're
with
so
that?
intentional.
I've emailed him, he emailed me back.
Because he wrote,
Matt.
hey pals,
I've been
last
trying to
week
get
you
in touch with
said
Matt.
you'd email me
Ooh.
some stuff on Mormonism. Just a reminder, thanks.
Oh, boy.
Oh.
Yeah, too bad. Too bad
Is
for
it taken
him.
care of? Is it taken care of? Do you need this email?
No,
Were you just
I
kidding about
emailed
emailing
him and
back?
I said, "This is what I got. Are you interested?" He emailed me back and said, "It's not, yes, I am still interested. By the way, tell Doug to say my name, Pfeiffer."
There you go.
So, boy, cool your jets, Craig. Good Jiminy Jim.
this is a
Those
question
Mormon
that
answers.
Another delay.
he just to punish him because your love language is respect. Here's a question. A little more than half of my students have perceivable leadership potential and actual influence on others. The other half, this is think
What is
homeschooler.
imperceivable? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You're really not. But he says the other half,
No, I
think
really am.
homeschooler wearing a puffy paint family reunion T-shirt.
Awesome.
That's a funny line.
Puffy paint.
That should make it into a video.
A puffy paint
One of your
reference.
raps.
Okay, great.
Homeschooler puffy paint.
No, that's yeah. You can put it in your video.
Yeah.
They come because we're doing something and they want to be a part of everything, quote unquote, Trinity Youth. I'm glad they want to be a part. I know they'll learn a lot, but this summer we're hoping to go to the PDYM Student Leadership Conference, and the church will subsidize about half of the bill. Do I have everyone come or just choose a select few? Please, after saying bring everyone and laughing with great enthusiasm, give me your best answer.
That's the
Also,
funniest.
Doug, can we
Awesome.
sleep in your backyard? Seriously. Okay.
Awesome.
No. But you could
Seriously,
sleep at
no.
SYM. You could sleep here if we have these offices.
Are you
Oh, wait,
sure?
we won't have these offices in the summer. Jana,
So the headquarters are moving?
I would say yes. We're gonna move to some
Man.
CHIM offices.
Wow, it's the first time you actually used it.
I would say on this one, you guys
Wait.
chime in.
Oh, I got an embarrassing story.
Wait,
Great. Why
That
don't
probably is off the record. Dang it.
That's twice today.
You need to have like
Actually,
your own
3
little
times.
podcast ahead of time.
No.
And then just get it all out, and then show up to this table.
That's
Oh gosh. Do you know
Just a
one
little
youth
whiteboard
worker
you
actually
could write the
emailed me and
ideas
said
on.
I should do my own podcast?
You should.
Yeah.
I
How
know
often
you
have you thought about that?
0. I was like, you know how many people would listen?
Yeah.
That
well,
doesn't matter.
Me and my
Instead,
mom.
I'll just write really long blog posts.
I would say on a PDYM Student Leadership Conference or any type of conference,
Yeah.
I'd open it up to everybody.
Yep.
Just if you don't already have an existing student leadership program, say yes to everybody on that, because that's road trip, that's challenge. Things can come out in that.
Yep.
I was invited to a leadership camp when I was in 9th grade, and the only reason Jim Burns invited me is because I wanted to go on a second houseboat trip. And he says, I'll let you go on the second houseboat trip if you go on the student leadership. And that student leadership trip changed my life.
That's awesome.
So I would say yes to everybody, but when it comes to your actual student leadership, I'd be a little more selective.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting here that he says.
But what's selective?
Stop. You interrupted.
Thank you, Jen.
Half of them here say or he says half of them are influential and the other half are homeschoolers. But I think one of the things we're trying to,
which was a good bit, by the way, Craig,
say is we also want our student leaders to be servants.
Yeah.
And you might find some servant leaders in those homeschool kids that really then by modeling serving are influencing others, you
They
know?
can serve up a mean tray of graham crackers.
Vanilla wafers.
See, let's pause and just talk podcast etiquette.
Okay.
That was a funny line.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
And it was put in like when Jana
Context.
paused. It was
Right.
it was actually it was well done.
Right.
Well, like when I'm reading a question and you're having a side conversation with Jana,
When did
that's
I do
not
that?
good.
That's bad.
Yeah, that would be bad. That would be
For
bad.
the listeners or for
No,
me
for-
and Jana?
For everybody.
All involved.
Everybody.
Yeah.
So we're at 117 episodes, and if you could get this little side conversation thing going on where you have your own little conversation
Wait, now I
going
feel
on.
like I'm getting in trouble too.
No, well,
This
he
would
was-
be the first time
he
you
was
got in
talking-
trouble.
He was talking to you. You were listening. So yeah, you
Okay.
shouldn't have been listening.
Oh, the golden child has tarnished.
The only thing I was going to say is scholarship-wise, you could find a way to invite everybody, but be really specialized in who the scholarships could go to. So the kids that you know who you see great potential in, if you want to work harder with them to say, look, I've got budget for this, that you wouldn't open up to everybody and keep
The
that
popular
kinda,
kids.
Well, or not as much that as the ones who he sees or thinks could.
Well, yeah, and the great thing about a student leadership conference is that you can raise the bar before you even leave the church. So when Jana and I took a bunch of leadership kids to Orlando,
But I was on a trip.
were you on that
there
trip?
too.
I don't remember.
We
Goodness.
didn't really lead it.
Yeah. So you're a student?
Side conversation.
So what we did is we said, you're all invited to go, you pay the whole, but that's great, but that's only half of it. And we had them sign covenants, and this is appropriate behavior, and this is how we're dressing at this, and we raised the bar, and the kids
Yeah.
matched where we raised the bar to.
Yeah, most of them. Brazel didn't.
Yeah, it wasn't there. He was with you somewhere. This is from Chris Carpenter. Chris is the guy that wrote us a couple
Had
weeks
a great
ago.
season after that stint on the DL. Sorry.
Was that with St. Louis?
Yeah. Gosh, good job, dude.
Thank you.
Very impressed.
This is the guy that, remember, his youth pastor said, grow the church
Okay.
or lose your job. Grow the youth ministry or lose your job.
And it's 66-person church or something?
Yeah, something like that. Well, then he kind of follows up on that, and he says he's thanking us for the input, and he's going to do it about, I plan to meet with the senior pastor and asking him if he really believes I can succeed, just like you guys talked about doing. Cover your prayers, et cetera, et cetera. But one of the things he said, I forgot to tell you, is I heard from another youth pastor in the town that their church put out an ad looking for a youth
No
worker
way.
to replace this guy. So,
Wait a minute.
Chris,
I'm sorry.
I know.
Oh.
For his job, there's an ad.
Yeah. You
That's
probably don't
pretty
listen to our
clear.
podcast.
I do.
you
That's
ever
a pretty clear
Yeah,
sign.
whenever I come on the show the next couple weeks, I'm like, I'm going to start listening to this again.
Yeah.
I'm not
And
listening
then
to
it-
this.
and then it
The
kinda
one I
fades
was
out.
Jake
on.
is the king of flake. I mean, I send him emails and
Wow.
texts, and I
That
never get any
burns
love
so
back.
Deep. Really?
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta.
Who
you know
mentored
what?
him?
Yep.
Because the side where I mentored him, he's very encouraging.
Exactly. Thank you.
We're talking. I thought
You're
we were. Yeah. Side conversation.
Speaking of which, when McGill twittered this morning about his carpool of little
Yes.
kids who are talking sports, and then Jake writes back and goes, "How did it feel that
I
they
saw
knew more about sports than you
That
did?"
8-year-old.
Oh gosh.
That was good.
I
Yeah.
knew you guys were gonna think that was funny.
It was fun.
That was a perfect setup. I really appreciate
I
that.
cried.
This is from our buddy Ken Leslie, who's a PDYM mentor.
Hi, Ken.
He says he's talking about these invite nights that are popular in youth ministry circles around where he lives. And invite nights where you pick a specific night and everyone is somehow, encouraged to bring their friend to that invite night. He says, my question about this is how to handle the complete change in dynamic that happens when so many first-time students are there. He says, we haven't done the invite night idea because every week at our community program is pretty much an invite night. I have kids bringing tons of friends, and those students are bringing friends. Essentially, each night at our community program, we have about a 2-to-1 ratio of Christ-following kids to non-Christ-following kids. Sometimes it's a bit crazy. I'm super excited about this, and each week we teach on salvation just because we always have new people, but the whole dynamic is totally changed.
That's funny.
How is it? I don't get the change part.
Anyway, catch you at the gathering. Oh, wait.
Wait a minute, I don't get how is it changed? Because he said I didn't get the change part. I'm sorry. Because I thought it was consistently non-Christians.
No, I think he's saying the dynamic of the room and group is because there's so many new people and.
He's asking about the success of doing an invite event
when he's already got the invites happening.
It reminded me, working with Josh as the high school pastor, I kind of oversee evangelism stuff for junior high and high school. And we did a kind of a Halloween dance party. And we get good attendance, but we do a junior high outreach that gets double the numbers. It's massive.
Right.
And Griff, we were talking afterwards going, gosh, we could and should be able to get that same type of thing. But where we went in the conversation was, we've got the numbers coming to the weekend. When the result of the dance party, the whole goal is to move kids to the weekend. I go, on some level, we can't be beating ourselves up when our end goal of a Halloween event is to push kids towards.
Sounds like you guys rationalized.
It could be. It could be me trying to back out of it. No.
No, but don't you think there's? Well, I mean, this is specific to us, but there's a little bit in our junior high event. It has momentum because there's a few. Every month our students know, bring your friends to this event. Where for our high school students, it's like one-off events.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the momentum is a little bit different.
Well, I see what Ken is saying and I understand the difficulty of that. You have an invite night, so my son Cody brings his friend Adam to the invite night. Adam goes, "This is great.
Yes,
I want to come back next week," and comes back next week, and it's a in-depth Bible study.
Right.
And so, are we confusing kids? And we say, "Oh no, we're really clear about what the next night is," but just because we're clear, do kids fully get it? And I think what Ken is saying is that if he has a program that is your invite program, you don't have to have it once a month, once a quarter. Maybe other churches do. You don't.
Right.
And so at that point, be consistent. You're not teaching kids who are already following Christ. Your goal for that specific program is to expose Jesus in a way that maybe they've never heard of or thought of before. You're not talking to your homeschool Christian church type kids that come every week, and be consistent with that. I think that's a lot easier to program for, personally. I always know who my audience is at that event.
Yep.
But Ken also might have more resources than other churches, and other churches don't have the luxury of multiple programs, so they're going, okay, we're going to do 3 weeks of discipleship, and then the fourth Wednesday is invite night.
And that's great.
Right.
Exactly.
Can I see that?
Know your structure. Know your structure.
Know your structure.
Know your structure. Know how to rationalize.
Matt, this would be good for you. This is a buddy of ours.
He's not paying attention.
I'm totally paying attention.
It's
good for me.
Herman. Herman
Respect.
from South Africa. He says, "I'm a lead youth worker at our church. How do you handle physical violence at youth events? The other day we had a situation." What's that? Sorry.
He said with more physical violence.
He interrupted.
I know. Gosh, if we could go back to 117 episodes and see how many times he's interrupted with showing really no discernment, it would. I don't know if it would reach 1,000, but it'd probably be close. That'd be 10 an episode.
He'd get extra points for making dog jokes about.
Inappropriate.
He says the other day we had a situation where one of our leaders confronted a student regarding smoking in the church building, where after the student went home, got his older brother and came back to a youth group and wanted to fight. Luckily for me, I'm surrounded by buff volunteer youth workers, and their side scared the student and the brother off.
Not ready to turn the other cheek, huh?
Do we get such incidents where violence may erupt? How would you handle it?
Wow. Walk softly and carry a big stick.
Teddy Rose.
That's right. I just can't walk. Softly.
I don't know why. That just reminded me the other night at the refinery. We had we had some kids who were skating during high school and junior high services. 5th grade kids were very upset that they were asked. They were asked multiple times. They weren't wearing helmets by security. They ended up find him again right without their helmets. Security went to grab them to bring him into our security room to call their parents. The kid somehow got a hold of his brother, who came ready to fight the security guards trying to detain his brother. And then they called the parents, and the parents came, and
Perfect.
the parents were
It was
cussing
like-
and yelling. It was unbelievable. Yeah.
And the parents were pissed too.
Parents were ready, as close as I've ever seen a parent come to fist fighting a security guard.
More than that
Cussing,
one time that
dropping-
dude was going to come fight you.
Worse than that time with me and Elliot at
And
the
that
football.
guy pulled off his shirt.
That was
big fat guy.
That was separate, and it was so dang funny.
Well,
Yeah.
focus on
Thank you.
the story that you were heading down
Yes,
before Matt
the-
interrupted you.
Security guards. So how the thing shook down? It was mainly handled by security, because they're there, and we have security guards dedicated to that.
Security.
Jason Pogue, who helps oversee the refinery, stepped out there. I stepped out just because I saw something happen, and was kind of just grabbing students to make sure they were heading into service. But how it shook down was just lovingly having as long and painful of a conversation as was necessary. And honestly, it went from fist fight, and one of the security guards was hit by the older brother with a skateboard.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, Matt.
Hard?
Yeah, it's full on. He blocked himself like that. He got a skateboard swung at him.
Assault.
Yeah, which they said it's the same as swinging a baseball bat, or I mean, it's big time. Anyway,
With bearings.
They talked. Yeah, they talked to them for an hour plus, and the family left, hugging them at the end and like understanding the situation.
But they
which-
still tried
Did
to
they-
file reports the next day.
This is correct.
So.
Did they?
This is correct. Yeah. It was crazy.
And was it on camera?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing was totally fine. They had said that the security guard had struck the son. The kid was telling his family that he had been hit by security.
Yeah.
And there was zero proof.
It's messy. I mean, because even we have other events that happen, and mostly fights with students and stuff. I mean, even at church we
Yeah.
had that, but it's messy. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the.
Why wouldn't we have it if they're I mean, part of our deal is to reach kids who don't know Christ. They don't know church culture and etiquette and all that kind of stuff. That's going to happen. So be prayer. I just love it that I read this from South Africa, and the exact same thing happened this week.
Totally. Yeah, it's all about taking the time to painfully kind of walk through it and explain your heart.
Yeah.
Explain why those policies are there. Explain that even though the kid was asked to not be smoking, that here's why he was confronted. And being willing to look to, part of it is being willing to look at the church's side of what you could have done wrong and said, hey, maybe our leader might have blown it in how he talked to your brother, or the verbiage he used. And it's a good
leader or the security guard?
Well, in this situation, it was a leader in South Africa.
But I was going to say, one of the things I think in our world, we've identified a few people who we want to be the responders to a situation like that.
That's good, Jana.
It's not everybody. It's not every youth leader that we have or volunteer, or so we've identified a few people that, hey, we have a situation and these people need to be there.
Only the people on staff who are ninjas.
Yeah, and it's great.
And to talk to our security guards too, of like, we want to be there. We are the youth workers, so if there's an incident with a youth student, we want to be there. We don't want you to handle it on your own.
I was going to say there's good coaching on the front end for potentially that leader who talked. It seems like maybe all this could have been resolved in just how that first interaction could have gone differently. If the policy is that they can't be smoking in the building, great, but there's a million different ways that could be flushed out.
You're right, Jake.
So,
I mean, I'm thinking of different names I'm not going to say right now that are part of our volunteers.
Yes.
That we don't want them responding in situations like that, because they have a cop mentality.
Right.
And there's always better people to respond to situations like that. And honestly, I mean, he says, I'm surrounded by buff volunteer youth workers.
Right.
I sure don't mind having a couple people on your volunteer team that that just kind of look
you could
big.
hide behind.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I remember a few years ago there was a big fight going down, and do you remember this?
Yeah.
A big fight going down,
Yeah.
and you guys took some of our stronger volunteers to.
Yep. Yeah. Do you remember that? It was a Saturday night after church, and we heard about these two.
Oh, yeah.
They were
Two
gonna meet in the
groups.
Pastors'
park.
kids.
I'm
They were
pretty
gonna
sure my
come-
brother was involved in that.
It was your brother. It was two pastors' kids.
You
Well,
don't
it was
have to
one
name
for sure, I
multiple
can't
names.
remember.
Yeah.
I don't mind getting
And-
my brother in trouble.
Yeah, but the reality is they were going to go to church, and after church, they were going to meet in the parking lot of Trabuco Hills High School and go after it. And we heard about it and grabbed some of our bigger volunteers. One who actually was a cop.
I was going to say.
And
But not a normal cop. Cool cop.
Not a normal cop? That's a terrible statement.
Well, earlier he said we have people that are cops. We don't want them responding situations like this. So I was trying to make his comment consistent.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Responding like a cop.
Right.
He's
a cop.
We kind of had a little idea ahead of time about the time of this.
Yes.
And we said 40 minutes because Jana has to go, and it's 45 minutes. And Matt has interrupted so much that this could have been a 30-minute show.
I've interrupted like twice.
Oh, Matt. See, that's the problem. In your mind, what is an interruption? You think is wisdom.
Knowledge.
That's right. Matt doesn't have opinions. Do you know this, Jake?
I do, yeah.
He just has wisdom?
Yep.
Or knowledge?
And for me, it's hard to argue.
Well, Jake, thank you.
Man.
Thank you for being here. We have a bunch
problem.
of... I really want... There's this one about a girl that got pregnant at the church, or not at the church, but the boyfriend, they go there and they're part of the youth group, and the church is having them... She's not even a Christ follower, and the church is having them come up front, and it's wild.
Really?
It is wild. And the poor youth guy... He says, the biggest problem I have is that she's not even a Christian. And the church is going a little psycho on it. But it would take a long time to talk about, so we'll save that one for next week.
Just give her the scarlet letter.
That's pretty much what it is. Gosh, we got a lot of emails. But keep sending them in, because chances are...
You'll lose those.
No,
that's
chances are the ones that make the show are the ones I read right before I come over here. That's not always the case, Jake.
Yeah,
No.
You love each email individually, just like
I
Jesus
pray
does.
over all of them, just like this.
That's right.
All right, Jana, you all right? Anything to say?
No.
Matt,
Fun to be back.
how's your
Missed you
blog?
last week.
I just can't believe you think I interrupt so much.
Oh, Miguel, just go back and watch a show.
Have you ever done that? Have you ever gone back and watched a program? That might help you.
Really?
Yeah. Have you ever?
And if it helps you, it might help all of us.
It might.
Let's talk football terms. What do you do on Monday morning?
That's true.
What do you do on Monday morning?
It was Saturday morning.
Yeah.
For high school, that's right. I forgot you didn't play in the league.
No, I didn't play in the NFL.
Yeah. Got that. You got that man.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
All right, Matt, how's the weight loss going, by the way?
Have we started?
You didn't get the email?
Are you serious?
No.
Oh.
I'm not serious.
I was like, whoa.
Okay, you
I'm
in
going
on
on vacation next week.
I should be in on it. What are the?
Why don't you take my
what are the
spot? You should
parameters,
take my
though?
spot next week.
Because there's always like some large bet involved in it that I'm not.
Well, this might involve free food at Boneheads.
Oh god.
Really?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What about instead of free food? What about all your UFC connections? Can we somehow rope that
I
in?
watched my first UFC fight.
January 2nd
No.
in
Is that-
Vegas. Mark
No,
Munoz.
you're not.
I'm
Mark?
going.
Oh
Bought
my
tickets today.
gosh. You're
Yeah,
so awesome.
Yeah,
Really?
Mark Munoz. If you're an MMA guy, follow him on Twitter.
That is so cool.
Mark
And he's like
K.
so
Munoz.
gentle.
He is so gentle.
Until you get him in the cage.
Yeah. I watched my first fight. I was kind of
What'd you
Rigged.
think? Did you see him choked out?
no.
Should we end the show? We should end the
Yeah,
show. We
we
can
should.
talk about this. I'll show you. I'll
just
show
be
you some
some
live
live
podcasts
Yeah,
on
you could-
Jake.
I'll never tap.
Yeah, whatever.
All right, Jake. Than's for sitting
Dude,
in.
no problem. You
Josh
tap
was
before
missed.
coming
Matt, the part of you that was here was great.
Whoa.
Jana, you're wonderful. Chris Davis, hello again.
Oh.
again.
And you smell good.
And to our podcast team, blessings to you.
We love you
and we'll
dearly.
see you next Thursday.
We love you so much.